All right, let's dive into the Roaring Twenties. I bet you want to understand the Great Gatsby, right? And not just like the basic plot.
Yeah, definitely. It's so much more than a love story.
Exactly. So, to really get it, we're going straight to the source, the Gutenberg edition. No messing around.
Smart move. Fitzgerald's language is so key to the whole experience.
Okay, quick recap for anyone who needs it. We've got Nick Carraway, our narrator. He's kind of an outsider, but gets sucked into this world of crazy wealth on Long
The
Island.
Jazz Age,
The
right,
Jazz Age, and, well, things go south.
to say the least. The American dream, love, class. Fitzgerald gets into it all out.
Okay, so let's talk Nick. He says he's this honest observer, reserving judgment and all, but come on.
I was jetting everyone.
Constantly. He even compares himself to some, like, hard-boiled
Yeah.
ancestor. I don't buy it.
Classic, unreliable narrator. That's what makes it so good. We see Gatsby through Nick's eyes, so
Mm.
whose dream is it, really?
Whoa, good point. It's like, is it Gatsby's dream or Nick just putting his own stuff onto Gatsby?
Exactly. And that makes you question everything. Like, remember when Daisy calls Nick a rose?
And he's all, no, I'm not like a rose at all.
Right. Is he being humble, or is Daisy just seeing her how she wants to?
Makes you think. Okay, another thing, this East Egg versus West Egg business. Fitzgerald makes that super clear from the start.
It's not just about geography.
Right. Like, Nick's house is practically an eyesore next to Gatsby's mansion.
It's all about social commentary. New money trying to fit in with the old money crowd.
So West Egg is all striving and ambitious, while East Egg is.
Jaded. They've already got it, you know.
It makes you wonder, do those divisions still exist today?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe not literal eggs, but
But we judge people based on appearances, where they live, all that stuff.
Fitzgerald is onto something. Those social hierarchies, they stick around.
All right, we have to talk about the green light. It's like iconic.
That first image, Gatsby reaching out in the dark, so powerful.
So evocative. What do you think it means?
Well, it's Gatsby's longing for Daisy, for sure.
But also for a past he can't get back, right?
Exactly. And on a bigger level, it's the American dream itself.
Yeah.
Always just out of reach.
Makes you think, what are our green lights? What are we chasing that might not even be real?
And what are we willing to sacrifice for those dreams? That's the question.
Okay, speaking of dreams, those Gatsby parties, they're legendary.
Huge crowds, orchestras, champagne. It's all there.
But Gatsby himself always seems kind of detached from it all.
The parties are seductive, sure, but also kind of empty, you know.
Like a symbol of the Roaring Twenties excess.
Hiding a lot of disillusionment underneath. Remember the drunk guy in the library?
But when the books were real.
Fitzgerald's little jab at how shallow it all was.
Oh, totally. Okay, and of course the love triangle. Gatsby, Daisy, Tom.
Seems like a simple love story, but
But is Gatsby really in love with Daisy? Or the idea of her?
she's more a symbol to him. He wants to recreate the past.
Which is impossible, right? And Daisy, she's tough to figure out.
charming. But then she says things like, I hope my daughter is a beautiful little fool.
Yikes. What does that say about women back then?
It's pretty bleak. Like her only option is to be pretty and marry rich.
Even if she's not happy. That's rough.
And then there's Tom. He's not a good guy.
Arrogant, racist, violent.
But do you think he's maybe a product of his privilege?
Interesting. Like, he's never been challenged, so he just acts like this.
Makes you think, does having any sympathy for Tom make the book better? Or worse?
Good question. Okay, on to Gatsby's past. Those stories he tells.
So captivating, but full of holes.
Like, he completely reinvents himself. Why do you think he does that?
It's tied to the American dream, that myth of self-made success.
But Gatsby's built it all on lies.
And even his mentor, Dan Covey. He had wealth, but was he happy?
No, not really. Gatsby might have learned the wrong lessons there.
It's like Gatsby's chasing a dream that's already been proven to be a bad one.
And he's so focused on Daisy, he doesn't see it.
It makes you think about whether we can ever truly learn from other people's mistakes. It's kind of sad, right? He works so hard to be this new person, but it destroys him.
And that whole thing with his mentor, Dan Cody.
Oh, yeah. Cody had it all: money, success.
But he wasn't exactly a role model.
No. Deeply flawed. And it feels like Gatsby learned the wrong things from him.
Like, he focused on the wealth, but not the real stuff.
Exactly. Gatsby misses that money doesn't equal happiness.
He's chasing a dream that's already failed for someone else.
But he's blinded by the desire for Daisy, for that past he's built up in his head.
And he misses all the warning signs.
It's like Can we ever learn from other people's mistakes?
Deep stuff. Okay, no spoilers, but the ending. It's not exactly a happy one.
It's definitely not a fairy tale.
Gatsby's dream falls apart, and it leaves you feeling, I don't know, uneasy.
Yeah, it's powerful. It makes you think about the American dream and how maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Like chasing that idealized past,
Hmm.
it's dangerous.
And that last line. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past.
So haunting.
It gets you right in the feels.
It's about wanting what you can't have, whether it's a person, a time.
Or even just like a different version of yourself.
We're all stuck in this cycle of wanting and then disappointment.
Makes you wonder, is the journey what really matters?
Yeah.
Not the ending.
Gatsby spent his whole life chasing something that meant nothing in the end.
It's a good reminder to, appreciate what you've got now.
And maybe be careful what you wish for. So for our listener, diving into Gatsby for the first time, what's the one thing they should keep in mind?
Pay attention to the little things. Fitzgerald's brilliant with those details.
Don't just skim the plot. Like you said, it's the language, the symbols.
Exactly. Dive deep into those characters. Figure out what makes them tick.
Okay, so it's not enough to just read it. You got to really live it.
And as you're reading, think about yourself. What are your green lights? Those things you're chasing after.
Are they taking you where you want to go? Or are they just illusions?
Heavy stuff, right?
But that's what makes Gatsby so good. It's not just entertainment. It's a reflection of us.
Exactly. It's about desire, anxiety, the choices we make.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
Timeless stuff. And it still hits hard all these years later.
Because deep down, people haven't really changed all that much.
So, for our listener, what's your final thought? What do you want them to take away from this whole Gatsby experience?
Go into it with an open mind. Let Fitzgerald take you back to that world.
The Roaring Twenties, all that jazz.
The glamour, the heartbreak, it's all part of the journey.
And remember Gatsby's story. It's a mirror. It reflects our own lives back at us.
The choices we make, the things we want, the illusions we chase.
Deep, The Great Gatsby. It's more than just a book. Makes you think about what's really important, right? Like maybe all that stuff Gatsby's chasing.
The money, the status.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't actually make you happy.
Fitzgerald's kind of warning us about that, don't you think? The dark side of the American dream.
So listener, I want to hear from you. What does Gatsby's story say about us?
Yeah. Are we still falling for those same illusions?
Like wanting to be someone we're not, or thinking money will solve everything?
It's almost 100 years later, but Gatsby still feels so relevant.
Totally. I think we've all felt that pull, wanting something we can't have.
Like Gatsby with Daisy.
Exactly. But his story shows, well, it doesn't end well.
It's a reminder to appreciate what we do have. And maybe be a little less obsessed with what we don't.
Find happiness in the now, right?
Exactly. Focus on real connections, real experiences.
Okay, I gotta ask. What if Gatsby had actually gotten Daisy? Would he have been happy then?
That's the million-dollar question.
Or was it all about the chase, the longing?
Fitzgerald leaves us wondering, was Gatsby in love with Daisy? Or just the idea of her?
It's like sometimes the wanting is more powerful than the having.
Deep stuff. And that's what I love about Gatsby. It gives you these big questions to think about.
It doesn't tell you what to think.
Right. It lets you find your own meaning.
So, listener, what do you think? What parts stuck with you?
We'd love to hear your take on all this.
And most importantly, think about your life. What are your green lights?
What are you chasing after? And will it actually make you happy?
Great question to leave everyone with. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Great Gatsby.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We'll see you next time for another literary adventure.